Hey YouTube, my name's Tiffany. Welcome to my channel, Tiffany Switched On. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be posting vlogs here documenting my journey through weight loss surgery. Specifically, I will be having the modified duodenal switch, or sometimes called SIP, sometimes called SADI, at the hospital where I will be having my surgery. They refer to it as the SADI. It's a fairly new surgery. Unfortunately, there's not a lot known about it yet. But not a lot of long-term results for sure. And it's a bit controversial actually, because I know in the States sometimes there are doctors that are performing it but telling their patients that they're getting the traditional duodenal switch. That's not the case, fortunately, here in Ontario as much, Ontario, Canada, but they were upfront with me and told me that's probably what I'll have. Yeah, so there is some controversy, but I actually follow a couple of amazing ladies on YouTube in the YouTube community that have had the SIP SADI procedure with amazing results, and they're very happy with it, and it leaves me with nothing but hope and to be excited for my life after surgery. So having said all that, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I live here in Southern Ontario. I'm 46 years old. I live with my husband and my 85-pound lab Rosie. She's my fur baby. We don't have any children of our own, but I'm very fortunate to be very close with my brother's children. They rent them out fairly cheap whenever we need them. You know, I feel very blessed to have them as part of my life. Yeah, and so I guess a little background on how I got to this point. You know, staring down at weight loss surgery in a couple of weeks. My story isn't unlike most people out there looking into weight loss surgery or have had weight loss surgery, in that I have been heavy my entire life. I have struggled with food from the word go, just about. My mom actually told me about my first babysitter when I was about a year old. And she gave me a bottle every single time I cried. So my mom said it didn't matter if it was like a dirty diaper or that I was tired or for whatever reason, her answer or her solution to everything was to shove a bottle in my mouth. So I can honestly say that my unhealthy relationship with food and my dependence on food started when I was a year old. How crazy is that? So I apologize if you can hear that in the background. That is my 85-pound fur baby. She is upset because I am talking to all of you instead of paying attention to her. I apologize. She's a bit of a suck. Anyway, so yes, the struggles started. They're real, and they started at a year old. And kind of, you know, snowballed slowly, gradually from there. I was a chubby kid in grade school and high school, and kind of used food quite a bit for comfort when I was lonely or feeling, you know, out of place because I was chubby, and, you know, kids were kind of mean. And so food was my friend, always. It was always there. And, you know, then fast forward to being 46 years old, it's really snowballed into some, you know, major stuff. I'm 330 pounds. I have an arm's length list of comorbidities, you know, not the least of which is type 2 diabetes. The type 2 diabetes has come and brought some pretty brutal complications. I've had 2 toes amputated, and I have severe neuropathy in my feet, kind of the pins and needles, and actually it's like electrocution or like lightning bolts through my toes, and sometimes it won't let up for days. Those are pretty nasty. And then I also have to get an injection in one of my eyes once a month, to kind of keep the fluid in the back of my eye down, and that is also a classic complication to diabetes. So yeah, at 46, you know, to be having these kind of major complications, it's pretty sobering. Also, along with that, with diabetes, there's also high blood pressure, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, asthma, arthritis, which is another big one. I really struggle with that one because it's in my knees. Actually, my legs and my feet are riddled with it. So it makes it pretty hard to move around, honestly, at this point. So, and at 46, I mean, I still want to be out living life and doing lots. And, I have one nephew and four amazing nieces that I want to be out having fun with. And, where I am right now, it's not really possible. Not the way I like it to be anyway. So this has all kind of brought me to the decision to have weight loss surgery. My journey actually started really 2 years ago, sitting in my doctor's office, and my diabetic foot doctor, who cared enough to kind of be brutally honest with me and tell me that my weight was way out of control, and that if I didn't get it under control somehow, that I was going to die, and it was going to be sooner rather than later. So, he said I had tried everything I could on my own, and unfortunately never had any kind of long-term success with it. So it was time to maybe look at weight loss surgery. Now, at the time that he said it, I was a little reluctant, or I kind of said, no, weight loss surgery really isn't for me. I'd always thought that while I knew that weight loss surgery would kind of physiologically change my body, and, perhaps restrict what maybe make me not as hungry all the time. A lot of my battle with food and weight is right up here. And I knew that the weight loss surgery wouldn't be a magic tool or a magic pill that was just going to automatically fix that. So I'd always kind of been reluctant to even talk about it in the past. But he said, well, before you say no, at least look into what you're saying no to. So on his insistence, I started doing some research, and actually it was kind of, I think God was looking over me, because at the same time that he was telling me this, I had a friend who very kindly had kind of just had weight loss surgery a few months before, and was very encouraging and helpful and answered all of my dumb questions very patiently. And kind of helped me kind of get my brain around it and really kind of make a good educated decision. So here we are 2 years later. I've been through not only like a year of research, but also then a year of the screening process, or jumping through all the hoops that you need to jump through in Ontario to have the surgery. Yeah, and so now I feel quite positive about it. And again, I mentioned that I'm on the pre-op diet, the OptiFast. If you have ever heard of that or you've tried them, they're not the nicest. You can get chocolate or vanilla. And the chocolate is kind of okay. Kind of. The vanilla, not so much. But I have found that if you there's flavorings that you can put in them that kind of make them a little more palatable. I've got a couple of Torani sugar-free syrups. The strawberry was pretty tasty in the chocolate, and I bought some orange to try with the vanilla. I haven't actually tried those together because I tried the orange in the chocolate, and I didn't find I could taste the orange very much, so I'm a little bit nervous to put it in the vanilla, just in case all I taste is vanilla. But I did put in the vanilla some lemon lime crystal light, and then a teeny little bit of lemon extract, and I almost had myself convinced that I was having a lemon cupcake for supper or the other night when I was drinking that. So not too bad. And I just keep telling myself that it's 3 weeks out of the rest of my life, and I'll just kind of get through it, and and then it'll be, we'll be onward and upward from there. So my surgery is at St. Joe's Hospital in Hamilton. Dr. Scott Gamora is my surgeon, and my surgery is on June the 1st, first thing in the morning. So I'm getting pretty excited because we're getting there. I'm really positive. I can't say it enough that I'm just pretty excited. Not so, I guess I'm just excited to take my life back, to feel light enough to be able to walk around and, be out and doing things with my family. And, even right now, unfortunately, even chores around the house are pretty difficult. So, looking after my own little family is difficult right now. So, to be able to do that and to maybe kind of stop some of the complications that I'm having with the diabetes from progressing. These are all positive things, and I'm really looking forward to that. So one other quick thing I wanted to mention before I kind of wrap this up is that while I have been researching, I have found I've found the whole weight loss surgery community on YouTube to be absolutely amazing. To find so many people that are brave enough to be open and share their journeys, the good, the bad, and the ugly, really, has been really inspiring. And part of the reason why I kind of wanted to try my hand at vlogging, I just wanted to really be a part of this community. I just wanted to give a shout out or some suggestions to anyone that is looking into weight loss surgery and is looking maybe for some people to follow and just see what their lives are like with their weight loss surgery. Specifically to do with the modified duodenal switch, SADI. I found two amazing ladies. The first being Dixie D. She's also Canadian, and she had her surgery in January. And I just love her to bits, and she's helped me so much. So check her out for sure. And then the other Sadie girl is also a Canadian. She lives in North Carolina now, though, and that's Amy at Princess Monster Truck NC. She just has a pretty awesome perspective on things. She had her surgery back March of 2016 and has had incredible results, and just a really fantastic sense of humor, and a great perspective on things. And both of those ladies I just credit 100% with kind of really giving me the confidence to go forward with this. And then also, I wanted to give a shout out to a couple of de-essers that I really enjoy. The first being Joni at Smilin' Shrinkin'. Please check her out, because I dare you not to smile while you're watching her videos. She is pretty amazing. And then also another very inspiring lady whom I just love to bits, even though I've never really met her, is Kristen. Kristen, I apologize, I'm not going to do this right, but it's Hasta Cielo y Mas, I believe is how you say that. Here in Canada, our second language is French, so I apologize if I kind of massacred that. But check those ladies out. They're really amazing. They will share their journey with you and give you lots of great information along the way and a lot of inspiration. So, and I think that's where I'll wrap it up. I think I probably will do one more vlog before, just maybe a couple of days before my surgery. I think that'll help me get my nerves out a little bit. And, I'll show you what's kind of going in the hospital bag, and kind of how I'm feeling with the OptiFast. The first few days have been a little rough. I've had some kind of headachy, car sick kind of feeling. But what I'm told on my DS Facebook group, is that that's kind of common and it will pass within a few days. So hoping that happens, and we'll just kind of continue with the OptiFast. Hope you guys are all having an amazing weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you'll kind of stay with me on this journey. And again, if I can answer any questions for you, or even if you'd like me to give you a little more. I know when I was kind of doing the research and then the screening process, it helped when I talked to other people who had been through that process to kind of find out when their timelines were, because unfortunately there are a lot of people in Ontario. I'm assuming there's probably a lot of people everywhere that are looking to have surgery, and so it's kind of a waiting game at first. So I guess I can just share with you quickly a little bit of my timeline. So my timeline started, I was referred in May of 2015. and by my diabetic foot doctor. I was given a letter quite quickly, and went in for my orientation June 15th of 2015. And that was just where they kind of had a mass amount of people, and basically told you about the different surgeries and told you what the criteria were for having such. And then at the end, they kind of said, well, let us know, if you're still interested in going, furthering the process, let us know and we'll be in touch with you. And they said, but it might be a while. And they weren't kidding. It was a year, almost a year to the date, actually. So June 13th of 2016, I went for my very first appointment with just an intake nurse who basically, took my stats, got a list of my medications, my comorbidities, got my weight and my blood pressure and that kind of stuff. And that kind of started the ball rolling. And then I had 2 appointments in September, one with a social worker, one with a dietitian. In October, I went to see an internist, who basically kind of said, yeah, you're healthy enough to have the surgery, and went over the medications that I would be kind of getting rid of after the surgery. And then November 30th, I met with the surgeon for the first time. We both agreed that the DS was the best surgery for me. So at that point, he said, because with the DS, you can really screw it up if you don't know what you're doing. He felt that I should maybe go back and visit with the dietitian a couple of more times. So, and unfortunately, at our particular bariatric clinic in Hamilton, at that time, the dietitians were super backlogged. So from November 30th, my next appointment wasn't until February, I think it was February 2nd. So February 2nd, I met with the dietitian, and then she kind of thought maybe I should meet with the social worker again, just to make sure that I really understood the cost of the vitamins, and that, I really understood that this was kind of a forever thing. And so I met with the social worker towards the end of February. And then I went in and signed my consent, at the beginning of April, I believe. At the beginning of April. And then it was probably about 3 weeks after that I was contacted by Dr. Gamore's office to set up a surgery date. So it takes a while, but it's time. At first I was just so impatient and I was so discouraged that it was taking so long. But now looking back, I'm so glad I had all of that time to really kind of wrap my brain around it, because it is a life-altering thing, and it is serious, and it's forever too. So while there's so many positive things about it, it's good to know everything about it. And like I say, that time really kind of gave me time to wrap my brain around it and make sure that I was really ready and that it was really for me. So again, thank you for tuning in. I hope that's helpful to anyone that's out there wondering if they're going to get a call from their clinic anytime soon. I will, like I say, I think I'll do a video probably a couple of nights before before my surgery, just mostly for me to get my nerves out, honestly. And yeah, then we'll go from there. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a fabulous rest of the weekend. Bye-bye now.